Welcome dear students to our English class. I am teacher Veldrina Gonsalves and today we are going to study lesson 4.2 The Storyteller by H. Munro Saki. His full name was Hector U. Munro. He was better known by the pen name Saki and also frequently as H. Munro. Students, before we start with the lesson, let's begin with the warming up. Warming up. Question 1. Short stories are of many types. Match the type of story in column A with its description in column B. Students, now for this question I have directly given you all the solution. Question 2. Complete the following story using the verbs in the brackets in proper form. Now students, in your textbook, the story is given with the blanks and the words in the bracket. Here I have directly given you all the solution. Students, this lesson has two parts, part 1 and part 2. So first, let us see the difficult words from part 1. Glossary. First one, correspondingly, in an analogous or equivalent way. Second, sultry, hot and humid. Third, occupants, a person who resides or who is present in a house. Fourth, carriage, any of the separate sections of a train that carry passengers. Fifth, bachelor, a man who is not married. Sixth, persistent, continuing firmly. Seventh, reluctantly, in an unwilling or hesitant way. Eighth, protested, express an objection. Ninth, swift, happening quickly or promptly. 10th, rarity, the state or quality of being rare. 11th, unsympathetic, not feeling or expressing sympathy. 12th, listlessly, lacking energy. 13th, enterprising, not having or showing initiative. 14th, immense, extremely large or great. 15th, conviction, strong belief. 16th, retort, say something in answer to a remark, typically in a sharp, angry, or witty manner. 17th, momentarily, for a very short time. Students, in this video, we are going to study only the summary of part 1 and part 2. Now let us see the summary of part 1. Summary. It was hot afternoon and the railway carriage was sultry and the next stop was Templecombe, an hour ahead. The people in the train were two girls and one boy and their aunt, who was sitting on one corner seat, and the opposite corner seat was occupied by a bachelor who was a stranger. The children in the train were very naughty, as their aunt's remarks always began with don't, and children's remarks with why. From those three children, the boy's name was Cyril, and he was very naughty. While in the train, the boy smashed the seat cushions and produced a cloud of dust at each blow. On this, his aunt insisted him on not doing such mischief and told him to come and stand near the window. The boy hesitated but moved near the window. He saw ships moving out of the field and from the window, and looking at them, he started asking questions to the aunt. His aunt tried answering all his questions. After some time, the aunt tried showing cows as she was trying to draw attention of the boy. But the boy continued asking questions, and because of this, the bachelor sitting in the opposite side was very angry. Suddenly, the girl started reciting On the Way to Mandalay. She only knew the first line and repeated it over again and again, which irritated the bachelor more, and he started staring at the girl in anger. And that time the aunt noticed the bachelor's anger towards the girl. So the aunt called all the three children to her and told them to listen to the story. All the three children moved towards the aunt. The aunt, in a very low, confidential voice, started narrating an uninteresting story to the kids about a little girl who was very good and friends with everyone and was finally saved from a mad bull by several rescuers. Listening to their aunt's story, the boy and one of the girls said that they didn't like the story as it was one of the stupid stories they heard. The bachelor was listening everything. He told the aunt that you don't seem to be a success as a storyteller. On this, the aunt asked the bachelor if he would like to narrate a story to the kids, and even the small girls demanded the story from the bachelor. The bachelor started narrating a story about a small girl named Bertha. He narrated, Bertha did all that she was told. She was very truthful. She kept her clothes clean, ate milk puddings, learned her lessons perfectly, and was very polite. Listening to the bachelor's story, the kids started questioning him. Dear students, this is the end of part 1 of the lesson. Now, let us see the continuation of the lesson in part 2. But before that, let us see the meanings of some difficult words from part 2. Glossary of part 2. First one, promptly, very quickly and immediately. Second, murmur, a low continuous background voice. Third, delightful, causing delight, charming. Fourth, enormous, very large in size. Fifth, crawling, move about restlessly. Sixth, shrubbery, an area in the garden planted with shrubs. Seventh, lolling, droop. Eighth, clinking, making a sharp ringing sound. Ninth, devote, eat hungrily and quickly. 10th, morsel, a small piece or amount of food. 11th, triumph, victory or conquest. 12th, preparatory, serving as or carrying out preparation for a task. Now students, let us see the summary of part 2. Summary of part 2. The bachelor continued his story. He said Bertha was very good. She won several medals for her goodness, which she always wore, pinned on her dress. He said no other child in the town where she lived had as many as 3 medals. Everybody talked about her goodness, and the prince of the country got to hear about it, and he said that she was so very good that she might be allowed once a week to walk in his park, which was just outside the town. The bachelor further continued that Bertha was very sorry to find that there were no flowers in the park. The prince had an option from his gardeners that either he can have animals or flowers in his garden, and the prince decided to have animals. The prince described the park The bachelor described the park to the kids and told them that Bertha went up and down and enjoyed immensely in the park, and her 3 medals clinked on each other as she walked and helped to remind her how very good she was. Suddenly, the bachelor's story turned out a little serious when he said that while Bertha was in the park, an enormous wolf came into the park to see if it could catch a fat little animal for its supper. The first thing the wolf saw in the park was Bertha, as her pinafore was so wide and clear that it was seen from a great distance. As Bertha saw the wolf, she started running as hard as she could, and the huge wolf came after her. She managed to reach a shrubbery and myrtle bushes, and she hid herself in one of the thickest of the bushes. The wolf came sniffing among the branches, lolling out of its mouth. The scent of the myrtle was so strong that the wolf could not sniff out where Bertha was hiding, and the bushes were also thick, so the wolf thought he might go off and catch a little animal instead. As the wolf was just about to move, he heard Bertha's medals clinking and stopped. They clinked again in a bush quite near him. He dashed into the bush, his pale grey eyes gleaming. He dragged Bertha out and ate her hungrily and quickly. All that was left on her of her were her shoes, bits of clothes, and the three medals. After this, the bachelor ended up his story, and the kids were like it was one of the beautiful stories. But as per the aunt's opinion, it was improper story to tell the young children. At this, the bachelor commented that at least he tried keeping the kids quiet for 10 minutes, which was more than the aunt. After this, the bachelor walked down the platform of Templecombe station. Students, I hope you all have understood the summary of part 1 and part 2. Thank you.